Hey guys, welcome. I'll go over Top Goon X a little bit more in depth today, hopefully for you, and hope you guys have been, enjoying using it. And feel free to ask questions in this or in the support channel. Feel free to ask questions in the Telegram as well. But basically, I mean, the longer I use Top Goon X, the more I learn about it. It's just so complex. There's so much to learn. We've got the standard signals with Fibonacci levels, which work great. It works really well on Ethereum too. So just real quick refresher on that. Let's see if I can find this real quick. I just posted one. Let me see. Of course, you can always search Top Goon X with me and go back and find all of the posts I've made. Here we go. Alright, so here it is. So I did a video earlier this week about this too, showing Ethereum. But basically we have the strong short approaching signal here. Okay, momentum hadn't quite broken down yet. And price was still rebounding and kind of ranging. So I was kind of expecting, so I drew my fib from top to bottom here, right? And then you just wait on a dead cat bounce at the 0.786. So we never actually reached up there until way over here, right? And then we broke through it, rejected. So if you wanted to short that, you definitely could have. Either stop loss at the 886 or, you could take profit here for scalps, move your stop loss to break even, whatever. High volume breakout, low volume breakdown. That would have me hesitate. You don't want to see a high volume sell here. But then you can see that our next short opportunity and our strongest short opportunity is going to be at the 1.337 fib, right? And what happens here is perfect rejection at the 1.337. So once that breaks through, I don't usually set orders here. I'll wait, it breaks through, it rejects, and then that's when I'll start shorting. And then I probably would add it here, especially if it sold off rather quickly. You get a nice tweezer top here, pretty good confluence, right? Then your next so you would automatically expect this to go to the 236 fib, which it did. So right there is a great scalp opportunity. And if it breaks through there, you expect downtrend to continue. And now Ethereum's at 225. Okay, so it's given base. This is literally called the top on a 30-minute time frame. Pretty nice. Okay, so if we just go to the 4-hour chart real quick on Bitcoin. Okay, we are making lower lows, so that's not a good sign. No bearish divergence yet, I don't think. So not really anything there, but we do have some bullish divergence. Hey, welcome guys. Feel free to ask questions. That's a lot of candles after signal. Is there a point? No, not really, Tim. It usually doesn't take quite that long for that signal to play out. But it's always good to kind of wait for that, because we could have gotten caught shorting that a while before and, gotten stopped out, obviously. So I usually do wait for the 0.786 or at least for the 0.5 to break down. So let me get my fibs here. So we'll just say I got a strong buy signal or something, right? Let me zoom this out. So like if we get a strong buy signal and we drop through here and we don't quite reach the 0.786 and we start to bounce and go. Sometimes I'll ladder here depending on where supports and everything are at. We don't always quite reach that. But usually the 0.65, the golden pocket, usually doesn't hold in that situation, so I don't typically buy there. So yeah, there's no really time frame for that. It's just the signal's given and then you just set your, that's going to be your zone that you're going to have interest in. But as far as Top Goon X right now on the 4-hour, so we can just see here, and I've been longing the shit out of this morning. You can see here we've got some bullish divergence. Okay. So is it going to continue to play out? Do I need to sell here? I don't know. I'd have to go to lower time frames, but at least initially I see bullish divergence here. So I'm not going to be too mega bearish yet. And I'm not going to short on a drop. Whereas you can see here, if we zoom back a little bit, okay, Now we've got momentum going down with price, no divergence here, and then we break down further. Okay. And we had just a slight hidden bullish divergence here. Right, this is hidden bullish divergence, if you want to call it that. I don't really play that with Top Goon X necessarily. Okay, I don't play like hidden divergences because they're not that reliable. But you could expect that, since that's kind of like a hidden divergence, you could expect some turmoil here and maybe not continuation right away, or maybe a small bounce or something, but you would expect price to continue on with that momentum, which it did, obviously. For here, we don't have that momentum carried on yet, which is why we're struggling so much. So then if we go to lower time frames, we could see that, I mean, our 2 hour is definitely in resistance, okay, but we still have this nice uptrend. So we definitely want to start looking for shorts when it's up here, right? And then our 1 hour, okay, so the 1 hour did give a bearish divergence signal, and I remember seeing this right before this candle dropped. It gave a bearish divergence signal. I didn't trade it or anything. You know, usually the first one, you have to decide if it's really the short you want or the position you want, okay? But when you get those signals up in these upper zones, that's when you want to take them seriously. When you get the signals like in the middle, like if I get a bearish divergence signal here, I'm not going to take it as like a top. It might just be a short-term pullback. So usually getting the signals, where's this at? So if you're getting the signal, a bearish divergence signal in this zone or above, when price is in this, or momentum's in this zone or above, that's when I start taking it serious. If momentum was like in this zone, okay, and I was getting those signals, I'm not going to take them as seriously. And many times when you get them in those zones, this actually means continuation. So you get bearish divergence here, but momentum's pointing up, and you're not to the upper zone. It's more like, it's almost like strength in momentum, whereas the momentum's pushing through that divergence, and that's usually where it looks like a good short opportunity on the charts. And I don't know if I can find this. It doesn't always happen. That's usually when it's a good short opportunity on the charts, but that's not when you want to short. So like here you can see, so we got, this is about the only example I have right now. It's opposite. So we got a bullish divergence signal with price up here. So that's likely, to me, that means continuation. Okay. You can obviously see that bullish divergence played out. So we definitely got a bounce, right? And it was a crazy scam wick or whatever you want to call it. But as I said, when they're in this upper zone and you get those signals, those counter signals, it's usually continuation in that trend direction, the opposite of trend direction, okay? So we're starting to go down now. As we get this signal, we might get a dead cat bounce or whatever, but we still likely expect momentum to go down. So those can be helpful too in telling you if we're going to continue or not. So if you would have shorted that bounce, you know, you would have been great. And then you can also see we have the bearish divergence here on that bounce. Okay, momentum broke up through here. Momentum got rejected right at that line, but price went up. So that's definitely a bearish divergence. After this continuation, that was a really good short signal. Okay. If we go down in time frames this morning, I completely missed this, but you can see here, okay, we got 2 dead cat bounce signals and we dropped. Then we got a strong buy signal here. Okay. We definitely dropped, and we can map all these out. But when price is down at the bottom, especially on these low time frames and I'm scalping, I don't tend to short here. Okay. So if I'm looking for a position here, somewhere down here, and I get a buy signal, I'm really just not going to short. But I also know that I need to keep my stop loss really tight, because if we do drop, if we get this buy signal and momentum's down here and we drop, it's going to be a steep drop, okay? And you can see that we did get that steep drop. But usually it still means it's a buy the dip opportunity. And you can see how this momentum is still carrying up, right? Momentum's still carrying up. Price is going down. That's a bullish divergence. And then we bounce. So yeah, would you have gotten stopped out on one of these? Sure. And usually on these, I keep a really tight stop. I don't really go too big yet, okay? And then on that last drop down here, this is where I kind of go big, all right? Especially when I have that big bullish divergence, okay? So as for the signal, we can see if it played out. So we got the signal here, okay? And when you get the signal at a bottom, it's kind of harder to read, right? I actually would like to see the signal like somewhere in here on the way up, right? So when you get the signal at the bottom, it usually just means you bounce right there, okay? Same with the X. If you get it at the top of something, it usually just means that you're stopped right there. So you can see we bounced here. I don't even really know if there's a correct way to draw Fibonacci levels when you get it at the bottom. Let's guess and just see what happens if I draw it here to the top here. And honestly, I really don't know where you would put it. So you could see the 786 didn't hold. It went to the 1.337. So that would have been your strong buy. It did hold. If we put it here, from the bottom of that to the top of this move, I suppose, then yeah, so nothing's really hitting. So again, I don't know exactly where to draw the fibs when you get the signal there. It's best, obviously, if you get the signal on the way up, then you can draw your Fibonacci level. It's not always perfect, obviously, nothing ever is. Again here, do we get some bullish divergence on this drop, even just between these peaks? So we did. All right, so more confluence for bullish divergence there on this drop. Let's see what else. These extra signals, so I've gotten asked what these mean. So usually, what I've noticed is that when you get like one signal, so you get a circle and a little check, that little check or whatever you want to call that little white tab. When you get one dot and one tab, it usually means that you drop. Okay, so one dot, one tab, you would expect this, a pretty quick drop. When you get multiple of them, it's kind of like against it kind of goes with what I said, where you get that continuation where you're like seeing momentum fight through that divergence. So when you get like 3 or 4 of those in a row, it usually means that you fight through that and you push through that, and momentum's pushing through that. And you can see we did drop a little bit, but momentum pushed through that. So when you get multiples of those, be aware of that, and be aware that if you're in a short already, like if I would have shorted that and I got another one pop up and another one, I would probably close my short. Okay. Dead cat bounce signal, pretty straightforward. So we can see if that played out. Again, sometimes these are absolutely perfect, not all the time, but okay, and let's see where we got this one at. So this one we got on a dip, so dead cat bounce, right? So we would go from here to the bottom, I would say. All right, and then our 1.337, so you can see we actually broke through. So I wouldn't have shorted that yet. I might have shorted here. Obviously our 0.786 fib broke straight through, so there's no short to be had there. Okay. And then we get another signal here. Okay, so once our 1.337 broke, we could have shorted that again, especially with this high volume here, this big candle breakdown. But I'm usually pretty hesitant here when we break through strong. So, but if you look, let's see the other one. Usually when you get a second one, that's usually a good confirmation that you're gonna, you're gonna go in the next direction, if that makes sense. So like, if I get 2 buy signals, okay, and momentum starts peaking out, I'm good. But if momentum hangs, then I'm gonna go the other way. Like I'm gonna go up. So this tells you that you're gonna get a big move coming soon, in either direction. All right. So if I would have broken up, it's pretty good for you, and it's usually pretty strong in either direction. Okay. And so this one was given here, and we never really, never really even bounced after that. So, like I said, usually the second one is like you start to move and you just go. So we get the second one here. If we would have broken up through here, probably about this support here or this resistance, okay, you would have wanted to long this because we would have gotten a pretty strong trend. At least a strong move. Even if we got this divergence, we would have gotten a strong move here. You could have shorted, okay? But then we didn't. We rejected, momentum stalled, and you can just see how strong this is. So if you're waiting for a bounce, you can short this, all right? So if this is dropping, you finally get your bounce, momentum starting to wane, you can short that, or you could short this, and you can see that the volume on that, I mean, there's just no buy volume coming in right now. I don't know why my chart's so weird, but okay. Let's see what else. So this is just a 1 minute chart, you guys. 1 minute's pretty crazy, but you can see how like we just trend from bottom to top. Okay, so shorting up here, longing down here, longing down here, shorting up here. Okay, you can see how I just don't look to enter longs when the indicator's up here. Okay, and I don't look to enter shorts when it's down here. Your risk to reward just isn't that great, right? If I draw this across, So this is really good for you guys if you want to try to, if you're learning to scalp, okay, because it gives you a good indication of where the trend is at. Trend is looking to reverse down here, right? And even if we drop and we get a downtrend, we're still got a trend down here, and you can still look to long. So how that works is, let's say I'm looking for a long, and this is just hanging out in here, and price starts to drop, okay? And price is dropping, and I don't want to long yet because price is dropping, but momentum's just slowly creeping up, right? And price keeps dropping, and then it kind of comes up, and it comes down, and then now price starts to, price is kind of hanging here, and the momentum is really pushing strong. That's when I can look to get on these bullish divergence dips, okay? Once you see that momentum peak out. So momentum starting to uptrend, okay? That's when we start to push, all right? You could see here, we had bullish divergence. So we bounced, and then we reject up here at the top and go down. And if you just look at every time we're in this zone here, let me make this green. Again, feel free to ask questions, you guys. I'm just kind of freelancing. This is typically what I look for, though, when I'm looking at our scalps, okay? Bullish divergence with momentum and being in the bottom and the top zone. If they're in the bottom zone and I think a long is good on other time frames, I'll look for a good long with momentum coming up. So you can see we're in this bottom zone is from here to here, and then so here's what I'm talking about. So when we're in this bottom zone, you don't automatically need to buy, but then we get this nice bullish divergence here. Momentum going up, price going down, okay? That's where we can look to buy. And you can wait for that confirmation. You can wait for a price to cross this and buy on that dip. So when price crosses this, momentum usually carries up. So when this is going to dip, which would be right here's where it says it's going to dip, right? Okay, so then you buy that dip and go up. And then, so I've started trying to figure out if I can use Fibonacci for these crosses in here. So this is one thing I've been working on, is when we cross here, can I use Fibonacci's to retrace my level? So let's say I'm going to draw from this impulse up when we cross. Okay, so from here to here. So that impulse, so I draw my fib, and look at that, 0.786 fib touch. So that's how I could have decided where I would want to buy at. From this cross, I expect a dip, we dipped, 0.786 fib, I buy, and we went up. Pretty simple, okay? And then you look for the 0.236. So 0.236 is right here, so that was our first target, which it reached, and then it broke right through. And you can see we continued on a little bit because that held, because the 0.5 held. So pretty cool. If you're just looking for scalps, it's perfect, 0.786 to 0.236 right there. That's a tight one, but you could have gotten like a 2% scalp out of that, okay? Oh, sad face. But what I'm seeing right now, just on other time frames, is I'm just seeing momentum not dropping off a cliff right now. All right, we're definitely starting to curl over, but we're just not falling off a cliff like on the 4H. So I'm thinking we can still hang out for a little bit longer. You do see here, we finally broke down again, and we're rejecting. Do we have bear div anywhere? I don't think so. But this definitely is looking like, one of those times where we want to start looking to short, but we're almost just ranging too, right? We've been in this range forever on these high time frames. So we still don't have very much high time frame downwards momentum. So as bad as I just want to swing short, I'm still hesitant to do that because top Goon X is still ranging. And I just haven't had any clear sell signals or anything other than really low time frames. Even here, we don't have any crazy bearish divergence. Let's see, maybe some slight divergence here, but we don't really have a peak. We just don't have any clear, let's see, I don't even see any over here hardly. It's just been a range, you guys. Here, we don't even have any. We got some divergence signals here, and they didn't have the markers. So when they don't have the markers and you get more of those divergence signals, that's when you want to pay attention to it. So the blue bearish divergence signals without the markers, you're getting the more of those, the worse. But if they start having the markers, that usually means that you're going to push through it if there's multiple ones, okay? If I look at ETH, I think I can show you one. let's see. That's a 1 minute chart. Let's see. I don't know how successful these are on the 1 minutes. I think the F 30-minute chart is where I really was looking at this one time. So let's see. So there's multiple here, and look, we kept pushing up, there's one here. Okay. And we dropped right after. One here. Okay. A lot of bearish divergence signals, and you get one little pinpoint marker, and it falls off a cliff. I don't know if that was before or after the signal was given. Let's see. Yeah, it was right on that, so would have been a good catch. Do you guys have any questions right now on anything? Oh, my screen froze. Hold on. Oh, no, it didn't. On the wrong one. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Okay, no questions? All right, let's keep rolling. All good. Have you guys been having any luck with it? Any feedback? Good luck, bad luck? Has it been helping out? Not helping at all? Any feedback is good feedback, even if it's bad. Always helps me. But honestly, I use TGX every day, and pretty much for any trade entry. So it definitely is very useful for me. Let's see what we got here. So what is this, 30-minute chart even? So even here we have some bullish divergence. Even here we have bullish divergence, right? So you just expect a bounce. And when you get a lot of divergences on a lot of different time frames, it's extra confluence for you too. So if you're seeing something on like the 4 hour and, well, actually, so I don't know if you guys saw my post recently. Mostly even, held my entries for sure. Still working my exits. Yeah, exits are hard, just in general. X's are hard, Tim, or exiting. But you can use divergences for that and low time frame divergences. So usually you can see when they start to like creep over to low time frames. I don't know if I can find an example per se. But as far as the 1H goes, okay, last week a lot of people were really bearish, right? Everyone was really bearish down here, and we definitely dropped. But I was shorting these bounces, but I wasn't looking for any swing shorts, and I actually closed my shorts down here. Okay. So I closed my shorts down here because Top Goon X was looking so bullish. All right, we got these divergence signals. We got momentum pushing up. We held this support here, and we just kept pushing. Okay, so really, if you're looking for an exit, you technically don't have to exit till like here because you hit a resistance. So you could exit like 50%, or even like up here, and you wouldn't really exit till you have bullish or bearish divergence. And actually, if we really dissect this, I think we had, and the marker tells us as well, okay, that marker tells us that, oh, sorry, 1 second, you guys. Okay, sorry. So that marker tells us that we had this bearish divergence here, and that set up really nicely, right, at the top zone. So you could buy on bullish divergence, sell on bearish divergence, technically, and bullish divergence anywhere in this lower zone. So the lower in here we get, the better it is. Like if I have bullish divergence up here, I don't expect it to carry me too high. I more expect it to be like a continuation thing where I'm going to get bullish divergence and bounce a little bit, and then I'm going to continue down. If I get bearish divergence in here, I expect it to take me back down a little bit and then take me up. But yeah, so you can see here why I closed. So I was definitely short from here, but I closed down here because we had this massive divergence, okay? So if I was short from here, I still might have closed because I had so many divergences, or I might have closed partial position or something. Let's see. But exiting is always the hardest part, and actually that's like the last thing I found out with Top Goon X is like how to start using it for exits. These divergence signals are good. Bearish divergence obviously good. But once you start getting these upper zones, okay, so this is a 1 hour chart, is when you want to start looking for shorts. So here and here. Okay. So we got in the upper zone. We rejected off the top there, rejected off the top there. And so you could technically, if you wanted to, you could even call this a double top with divergence, right? And which is a good one because momentum pushed us, like momentum reached the same level, but price didn't reach the same level. So to me, that's going to be more of a bearish thing where it's like it took us a lot of work. It took us as much work to get here as it did to get up here, which usually isn't a good thing, right? So now you can see we're curling down. And so if I'm looking to short, I probably would wait for this to peek through here for a swing short anyway, because I want momentum to start breaking down. And usually when we cross zones, you know, we get a counter current bounce. So, but this 4H is just kind of what I'm looking at. I still kind of think we have some either chop here, maybe some upside. But we just don't have that mega downside momentum like we did here, right? To keep going down. We have some momentum here. And you can actually use top Goon X momentum as supports and resistance too for like horizontal, okay? Or for like higher lows, higher highs, or consolidation even. So like here, momentum was able to break, oops, I don't know what I just pushed. Here, momentum was able to break this high, and you can see how that worked. So we hit this a lot, right? And we broke this and we really pushed. So that's a really nice way to buy some breakouts too with momentum. Because if you would have seen here, I think momentum took off before price did. So momentum was up here and starting to climb when price was rather sideways. Okay, so you could have gotten in there a little early on in this consolidation. What is momentum? This momentum is based off of some different indicators, some volume things. So it's kind of like a cluster of all my favorite indicators and strategies, I would say. For trend trading, like it's a mixture of some trend indicators I've used in the past. These zones are like trend zones, like as far as momentum, like max momentum in the high, lowest momentum in the low. In between is just kind of ranging. So another good thing too is if you see this here for a lot of sideways on any time frame, like we went up here and then we kind of bounced around, like we're just kind of ranging here. So I can't really take a short here, especially a swing short, because we're still in an uptrend, and I can't really take a swing long because we're just kind of ranging. So I could wait for that breakout, or if I have bullish divergence here, which I might have. Okay, do I have bullish divergence there? No, I don't. Not with that. Do I have it here? Nope, we made a low. So if you find bullish divergence, that's when you can buy as well. And we might have had some like a double bottom here. Anyway, like right here. So you see this double bottom, and then price went up. So that's, whoa, hello. So that's kind of a bullish divergence. Okay. Well, I mean, it is a bullish divergence, especially with top Goon X. But, and if we go to low time frame, see which, like, bulls just still, like, buyers are still just holding this zone. Still got these divergences. Now, if this starts to break down, okay, that is our trend continuation. So then we would get a strong drop here. So here's what would happen if that breaks down. We'd likely get a strong drop here. Momentum would carry through here, and then we'll get a little counter current bounce somewhere, and then you could probably short that bounce and then watch momentum carry back down. Okay, so that's kind of how I play those continuations. But the signals are really what tell me, like, anything that doesn't have the buy or the sell signal is almost like, take it for what it is. So this is down here. So this is definitely the lower end of the range, and so I can be bullish on some movement. But my biggest moves don't usually come until I get those buy and sell signals, because those are true momentum shifting, trend changing signals. So you can see here, okay, I did get one down here, which did relatively nothing. And momentum, so if you would have bought this, right, on this retest here with bullish divergence, All right, and then just sold up here at the top somewhere. Okay, wherever it is, you could have sold up here, so that's 3%. You could have sold up here, 5%, so something like that, right? Um, that's a trend changing, okay? And then we finally got another trend change here, and we saw some big movement, right? And then we got another trend change down here, and we saw some more movement. So these are when I really notice if we're in like a full-on trend change or not. We don't really have any. So the last one we had was 2 buy signals here, okay? And then we finally, and we're still technically an uptrend because top Goon X hasn't signaled downtrend. So finally that uptrend paid off, right? And this is all on the 1-minute chart, so it's going to be a little bit less reliable, but it's still pretty reliable, okay? But we're getting trend change signals here, trend signals here, okay? Trend signal here. Obviously, they all played out immediately, but this one still had that added divergence, whereas these ones both dropped decent for us, okay? So even that one too. And this is 30 minutes on Bitcoin. It works really well in the 30-minute chart and the 15-minute chart for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And sometimes Bitcoin or Ethereum, like Ethereum will give a buy signal on like a 5-minute chart and Bitcoin won't. But I can still play that on Bitcoin as well. And they're usually pretty clean, you guys. Like those buy and sell signals on dips, they usually work out pretty well. And then you get that signal and you don't just buy right away. You want to watch the momentum too and make sure momentum's increasing on those low time frames, and that'll give you your signal. And then if you're drawing your fibs, so, and again, another good high time frame signal right on the daily. So technically, I mean, I would still say we're in downtrend. So we got a nice buy signal, we uptrended, down signal, we downtrended, and yeah, we hit here. So we hit the bottom, so I could definitely expect a bounce there, but overall, my trend is still technically down unless we get back above here, which we didn't. We rejected, and now we go down again, and now we're just literally ranging, you guys. So according to this momentum, and this is obviously a wide range, okay? But look at this. We're just ranging here. And then you can see price is doing the same thing. Same thing as momentum. Just ranging. So we're at the top of that range. Don't be surprised if we go back to the bottom of this range, you guys. Unfortunately, but momentum's up top. So once we break this on the daily, okay, we'll expect us to really start going down. That's when I look to short these like small bounces, too. If I'm not already in a short, that's where I can like look to add if I already am in a short, okay? But this is just a range until we get back to a strong buy down here, okay? Or we get down in this yellow zone again and build that momentum back up to switch ranges, or we break above this. All right, then we'll be in a strong uptrend and we'll just carry sideways. Like top Goon X would probably, if it breaks up here, it'll probably break here and it'll go flatline up here for like a really strong trend, kind of like we had. You can't see it. Let me go to the Bitcoin chart on Bitstamp. Like we had here, okay? And then it's in these really strong trends. See, we have no divergence signals here yet. It's in these really strong trends, and again, it would have played out. But these really strong trends, momentum never actually breaks down through here. You can see the first time momentum actually broke down, and you'd want to look for divergence on these drops. First time it actually broke down was here in February. Okay, and the first time it ever broke even through this line, again, was February. So that's where you know the trend truly shifted. It's right here in February. Trend truly shifted. And when the trend really shifts, you guys, you usually get a counterbounce. So like if we're going down, let's say we would have gone down. Let's say this Bitcoin dropped to here and went up. That trend wouldn't have shifted yet. We still could have been bullish up here, okay? Because momentum wouldn't have dropped enough. But once we get through here, okay, and we break down here, that is the momentum changer. Or that's the trend changer, okay? Right here. And you can see, as evidenced by our trend line, this is the change of trend, okay? Momentum's dropping, change of trend. Now I just want to short this count at this bounce, okay? So we counterbounce. I don't know if this is bearish divergence or not, okay? Depending on where I draw it from. If I draw it from there, sure it is, whatever. Anyway, momentum had dropped. We get rejected at this resistance, okay? Double top here, double top on TGX. But this is the momentum change. So when the trend changes, it's almost always going to go in the opposite direction because you're going to get a counter bounce, okay? Trend changes, everyone's going, okay, now I'm just going to, the people that understand trends are going, okay, I'm just going to short this bounce now. And so we let price climb back up, and then we short when it goes back up, and we just short the dip, or we short the bounces. So when you're in a trend, you want to long the dips and short the bounces. So right now we're in an uptrend, right? And if I draw a trend line here, it'll be uptrend too. When you know you're in a confirmed uptrend, you feel comfortable buying dips, and when you know you're in a confirmed downtrend, you feel comfortable shorting the bounce, right? So if I would have shorted here at resistance and added here and added here, I would have felt comfortable. Maybe not, depending on my levels, but again, these are strong candles, so I probably would have waited. But anyway, so if I'm just shorting anywhere here, I'm just feeling comfortable, and if I short here again, I feel comfortable because I know we're in a downtrend and I know that the downside pressure is there. So if downside pressure, I'm more likely to short. If there's upside pressure, I'm more likely to long. So right now, I've been shorting the dips, shorting the bounces because we're in that downside downtrend overall, and we're at resistance. But we've had those bullish divergences. So yes, I've been shorting the bounces, but I've also been selling the dips until we really get until that bullish divergence goes away. Okay, and we're starting to get to that point. And you can see this 1H looks like crap. That momentum sucks. Okay, we got one marker here. We dropped, so pretty much it's probably looking like we just need to start shorting bounces. And you can even see here we're breaking this support here. We might not even get a bounce more than what we just got. But we do need to see that carry over now to the 2H, which is starting to. Okay, so we crossed, so we expect a bounce, which we may or may not have already gotten. And then the 4H now is definitely downside, but we still have that divergence. So we kind of want to see this. We want to see like this kind of start to drop with price going up a little bit, okay? And then as price starts going down, we should see momentum go down, and we should see momentum break the support. And then as price is breaking down through here, then we'll have that price breaking support, momentum breaking support, and that's when we'll really drop. For now, you know that we've got this upside momentum pressure, price dropping, but so it's going to be hard for price just to straight fall off a cliff. So that's kind of how I use TGX too. Goon X helps me decide when things can just fall straight off a cliff or when there's kind of some, opposing momentum. So right here, 30-minute chart. And again, I use other TA too. I use support resistances and I use OBV. I don't have any of that pulled up right now. But you can see we lost our bullish divergence. Not a good sign. We crossed, so we probably could have shorted that, right? This just isn't looking good right now anymore. We don't have any bullish divergence at all. Not even down here. So the next chance for bullish divergence, okay, so right now this is no divergence. So we would need to see price make a lower low than this, which that's kind of what happened here is a double bottom almost. We need to see price go down below here and momentum stay up here. And that would give us a bullish divergence to buy if we dropped, right? Otherwise, if they both break and they both go down evenly and momentum goes below this line and price goes below this line, we have no divergence and we're screwed. And really right here. So, hope that helped. How long are we in right now? About 40 minutes. Yeah, that's all I've got for you guys right now. The strong buy and sell signals are still the same as they have been. Draw your fibs, and then just wait for the reaction. If you have two closes above or below, that usually cancels out the play. If you get one close above or below, and the next candle goes back through, I consider that a fake out, and I'll usually start to trade that, okay, as a fake out with a tight stop. Otherwise, divergences are really good, especially if you zoom out a little bit, okay? Even here, there's some indicators that if you zoom out, they're ineffective, but this one isn't, okay? You can zoom out as far as you want. And see there's more divergence there. So yeah, that's really all I got today, guys. I'm not trading anymore today. Well, I kind of want a long just for the hell of it, but probably should wait for that 30-minute. See how 15 minutes got some showing some downside too. So it's like it's too late on to short. We got this 5-minute buy signal here, which I just noticed, which was given up here. So maybe we would retest. So we got it during this uptrend bounce, I think it looks like. Yeah, so we got it here. So we would expect to buy the 786. So if we drop to 89.64, that might be a good bounce. And actually, when it goes like this, usually I almost expect it to break through that and make another low. So if we went to 8,900, that's almost where I would look to buy. Like really strong bullish divergence, right? We're definitely retesting the 236 right now, though. If you bounce off there, that's your bullish bounce. So we could continue from there, right? We broke through the 0.236, continue up. So 0.236 is important for those continuations. But as soon as the 786 breaks, you expect to go to the 1337, and pretty much every time you will. So, all right. Right now, do we have bullish? You know, we have a double top here, looks like. So I would just be cautious. Can't take any positions down here, though. This is definitely where you can look to long. So, all right, guys. Well, anything I can do for you guys right now? Keep using it. Like it took me seriously like 6 months to really get good with it, but just look at where it's at. You know, don't be eager to short down on these when it's down in these zones. Don't be eager to long when it's up here. That'll kind of keep you from FOMOing in, or you know, you FOMOing in on longs and shorts. So yeah, of course, Tim, anytime, man. Always feel free to ask me questions, you guys, or anything. I'm always willing to help out. I want to make sure you guys are, you know, getting the most out of it. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to take off, head out for the day. So, have a great day. And I'll post this for you guys' review in the group too. And if anybody wasn't here, I'm going to DM it to them. So, and if you ever, you know, need a copy of the video or whatever, just let me know. I'll get you the link. So, all right, guys. I'll see you later.